Okay. He petted and soothed effect, for under his caress they became quite manageable again, though they still trembled. The driver again took his seat, shaking his reins, started off at a ran sharply to the right. Soon we were hemmed in with trees, which in places arched right over the roadway till we passed through a tunnel. And again great frowning rocks guarded us boldly on either side. Though we were in a shelter, we could hear the rising wind, for it moaned and whistled through the rocks, and the branches of the trees crashed together as we swept along. It grew colder and colder still, and fine, powdery snow began to fall, so that soon we and all around us were covered with a white blanket. The keen wind still carried a howling of the dogs, though this grew fainter as we went on our way. The baying of the wolves sounded nearer and nearer, as though they were closing round from us on every side. Should I be eating and reading? That's probably a bad thing to get into. I shouldn't eat and read. Okay, I'm just gonna do that, take a sip. You killed Soap and Soap left! I don't think they were in the chat anyways. That's okay. Huh? Okay. Soon we were hemmed in with trees, which in places arched right over the roadway till we passed through a tunnel. And again great frowning rocks guarded us boldly on either side. Though we were in shelter, we could hear the rising wind, for it moaned and whistled through the rocks, and the branches of the trees crashed together as we swept along. And I'm lagging a lot in this Overwatch game. I'm really trying. Let's just make that work. Okay, anyways.
No more killing.
No more killing. Excuse me, how fucking rude. Okay. So that soon we and all around us were covered in a white blanket. The keen wind still carried the howling of the dogs, which, though this grew fainter as we went on our way. The baying of the wolves sounded nearer and nearer, as though they were closing round on us from every side. I grew dreadfully afraid, and the horses shared my fear. The driver, however, was not in the least disturbed. He kept turning his head to the left and right. I could see anything through the dark. I could not see anything in the darkness. Suddenly, away on our left, I saw faint flickering blue flame. The driver saw it in the same moment. He at once checked the horses and, jumping to the ground, disappeared into the darkness. I did not know what to do, the less at the howling of the wolves. The less as the howling of the wolves grew closer. But while I wondered, the driver suddenly appeared again, without a word took his seat, and we resumed our journey. I think I might have fallen asleep and kept dreaming about the incident, for it seemed to be repeated endlessly. A while now, looking back, it was a sort of awful nightmare. Once the flame appeared so near to the road, and even in the darkness around us I could watch the driver's motions. He went rapidly to where the blue flame arose, and it must have been very faint, for it did not seem to illuminate the place around it at all. And gathering a few stones, formed them into some device. There appeared to be some optical effect when he stood between me and the flame. He did not obstruct it, for I could see its ghostly flicker all the time. This startled me, but as the effect was only momentary, I took it that my eyes deceived me straining through the darkness. Then, for a time, there was no blue flames, and we sped onwards through the gloom, with the howling of the wolves around us, as though they were following in a moving circle. At last there came a time when the driver went further fled than he had yet gone, and during his absence the horses began to tremble worse than ever, and to snort and scream with fright. I could not see any cause of it, for the howling of the wolves had ceased altogether. But just then the moon, sailing through the black clouds, appeared behind a jagged crest of a beetling, pine-clad rock, and by its light I saw around us a ring of wolves, with white teeth and lolling red tongues, with long, sinewy lips, and shaggy hair. They were 100 times more terrible in the grim silence than held them which held them then even when they howled. For myself, I felt a sort of paralysis of fear. It is only when a man himself face to face with such horrors can he understand their true import. All at once the wolves began to howl, though the moonlight had some peculiar effect on them. The horses jumped about and reared and looked helplessly around with eyes with eyes that rolled in a painful way to see. The living ring of terror encompassed them on every side, and they had perforce to remain within it. I called to a coachman for some. It seemed to me that our only chance was to try and break through the ring and to aid his approach. I shouted and beat the side of the caleche, hoping by the noise to scare the wolves from the side, as to I can give him a chance of reaching the trap. But, how he came there, I do not. How he came there, I know not. But I heard his voice raised in of imperious command. And looking toward the ground, I saw him stand in the roadway, as he swept his long arms, as though brushing aside some impalpable obstacle. The wolves fell back and back further still, and just then a heavy cloud passed across the face of the moon, so that we were again in darkness. When I could see again, the driver was climbing into the caleche, and the wolves disappeared. This was all so strange and uncanny that a dreadful fear on me, and I was afraid to speak or move. The time seemed interminable as we swept on our way, now in almost complete darkness, for the rolling clouds obscured the moon. We kept with occasional of quick descent, but in the main always ascending. Suddenly I became conscious of the fact that the driver was in the act of pulling up the horses of the courtyard of a vast ruined castle, from whose tall black windows came no ray of light, and whose broken battlements showed a jagged line against the sky. Chapter 2, Jonathan Harker's journal continued. I'm not sure how many chapters are just the journal, because this is quite a few chapters. I think it's like 5 chapters of the journal. I'll look at this front again. It's 4 chapters. Oh my gosh, this entire book is just journals or diaries or letters.
No one dies?
What do you mean that no one dies? Sure, people die. This is Dracula. This is the Dracula book. Like, this is the one that first came out, and then everybody was like, whoa, Dracula's cool. Like, it originally came out in 1897. And people still read it. Isn't that neat? Okay, let me have a short break. Pee break. I'm just kidding, I'm not gonna go pee. But if you had to go pee,
it's high noon.
now would be the time. Hold on. I just gotta see if my stream is working again. I think it's working.
You seem familiar. Ain't I killed you before?
You seem familiar. It just says Cassidy now. They already changed his name to Cole Cassidy.
Watch and learn.
Oh man. How lame. I can't believe we got changed the game already.
Was his name the only one that changed?
It's McCree. That's what his name should be. McCree. Okay, I know that I've taken a big break. I'm just munching, okay? I'm just hungry, okay? All I had today was like a wrap. I was killed. Um,
I wasn't cut out for retirement anyways.
I wonder if there's anybody that would want to listen to this. I don't think I have any friends that want to listen, that would want to listen, so. Got that.
I might need this later.
Okay, I'm wiping my fingers. I'm wiping my fingers. This is not fight game.
No.
¿Extrañaste?
Okay, let's get back into the reading for
Says
this
that
new
one.
person.
Oh, help me.
Translocating.
Okay. 5th of May. I must have fell asleep, for certainly if I had been fully awake, I must have noticed the approach of such a remarkable place. In the gloom, the courtyard looked of a considerable size, and as several dark ways, the driver jumped down and held out his hand to assist me to alight.
Hey.
Excuse me. Oh, excuse me again.
Enemy seen.
Oh, excuse me a third time. Again, I could not but notice his prodigious strength. His hand actually seemed like a steel vice that could have crushed mine if he had chosen. Then he took my traps and placed them up on the ground beside me as I stood close to a great door, old and studded with large iron nails, and set in a two projecting doorway of massive stone. I could see, even in the dim light, that a stone was massively carved, but that the carving had been much worn by time and weather. As I stood, the driver jumped again into his seat and shook the reins. The horses started forward, and trap and all disappeared down in one of the dark openings. I stood in silence where I was,
Yes.
for I did not know for what to do. Of bell or knocker there was no sign, though these frowning walls of dark window openings, it was not likely that my voice could penetrate. This time I waited seemed endless, and I felt doubts and fears crowding upon me. What sort of place had I come to, and among what kind of people? What sort of grim adventure was it on which I had embarked? Was this a customary incident in the life of a solicitor's clerk sent out to explain the purchase of a London estate to a foreigner? Solicitor's clerk? Mina would not like that. Solicitor. For just leaving London, I got a word from my explanation that my examination was successful, and I am now a full-blown solicitor. I began to rub my eyes and pinch myself to see if I were awake, and it all seemed like a horrible nightmare to me. As I expected that I should suddenly wake and find myself at home, with the dawn struggling in through the windows. As I had now and again felt in the morning after a day of overwork, but my flesh answered the pinching test, and my eyes were not to be deceived. I was indeed awake and among the Carpathians, and now all I could do was be patient and wait the coming of morning. Just as I had come to this conclusion, I heard a heavy step approaching behind the great door, and saw through the chinks the gleam of a coming light. Then there was the sound of rattling chains and the clanking of massive bolts drawn back. The key was turned with a loud grating noise of long disuse, and the great door swung back. Within stood a tall old man, clean-shaven save for the long white mustache, and clad in black from head to foot, without a single peck of color about him anywhere. He held in his hand an antique silver lamp, in which flame burned without a chimney or globe of any kind. Throwing long quivering shadows as if it flickered the draught of the open door. The old man motioned me with his right hand and a courtly gesture, saying in excellent English but in a strange intonation, "Welcome to my house. Enter freely and of your own free will." He made no motion of stepping to meet me, but stood like a statue,
Never
stop
fighting for what you believe in.
as though his gesture of welcome had fixed him into stone. The the instant, however, that I stepped over the threshold, he moved impulsively forward, and holding out his hand, grasped mine with a strength that made me wince. An effect which was not lessened by the fact that it seemed cold as ice, more like a hand of a dead man than a living man, than a dead than a living man. Again he said, "Welcome to my house. Enter freely, go safely, and leave something of the happiness you bring." The strength of the handshake was so much akin to that which I had noticed in the driver, whose face I had not seen. For that moment I doubted if it were not the same person to whom I was speaking. To be sure, I said interrogatively, "Count Dracula?" I bowed in a courtly way, and he replied, "I am Dracula, and I bid you welcome. To Mr. Harker, to my house. Come in, the night air is chill, you must need to rest and eat." As he was speaking, he put the lamp on a bracket on the wall, and stepping out, took my luggage. He had carried it in before I could forestall him. I protested, but he insisted. "Nay, sir, you are my guest. It is late, and my people are not available. Let me see to your comfort yourself." He insisted on carrying my traps along the passage, and then up a great winding stair, and along another great passage on whose stone floor our steps rang heavily. At the end of this he threw open a heavy door, and I rejoiced to see him within a well-lit room, in which a table was spread for supper, and on whose mighty hearth a great fire of logs, freshly replenished, flamed and flared. The Count halted, putting down my bags, closed the door, and crossing the room, opened another door, which led into a small octagonal room lit by a small lamp, and seemingly without a window of any sort. Passing through this, he opened another door and motioned me to enter. It is a welcome sight, for here was a great bedroom, well lit, and warmed with another log fire, also added to but lately, for the top logs were fresh, which sent a hollow roar up the wide chimney. The Count himself left my luggage inside and withdrew, saying, before he closed the door, "You will need, after your journey, to refresh yourself by making your toilet. I trust you will find all you wish. When you are ready, come into the other room, where you will find your supper prepared." The light and warmth and the Count's courteous welcome seemed to have dissipated all my doubts and fears. Having then reached my normal state, I discovered that I was half famished with hunger, so, making a hasty toilet, I went to the other room. Making a hasty toilet. I found supper already laid out. My host, who stood on one side of the great fireplace, leaning against the stonework, made a grateful wave of the hand to the table and said, "I pray you, be seated and sup how you please. You will, I trust, excuse me that do I not join you, but I have dined already, and I do not sup." I handed to him the sealed letter which Mr. Hawkins had entrusted to me. He opened it and read it gravely. Then, with a charming smile, he handed it to me to read, one passage of it at least, and it gave me a thrill of pleasure.
Yes.
"I must regret that an attack of gout, from which milady I am a constant sufferer, forbids absolutely any travelling on my part for some time to come, but I am happy to say I can send a sufficient substitute, one in whom I have every possible confidence. He is a young man, full of energy and talent in his own way, and of a very faithful disposition. He is discreet and silent, and has grown into manhood in my service. He shall be ready to attend on you when you will during his stay, and shall take your instructions in all matters." The Count himself came forward and took off the cover of a dish. I fell at once on an excellent roast chicken. This, with some cheese and a salad and a bottle of old Tokay, of which I had 2 glasses, was my supper. During the time I was eating it, the Count asked me many questions as to my journey, and I told him by degrees all I had experienced. By this time I had finished my supper, and my host's desire had drawn up a chair by the fire to begin to smoke a cigar which he offered me. at the same time excusing himself that he did not smoke. I had now an opportunity of observing him, but I found him a very marked physiognomy. His face was a strong, very strong aquiline, with high bridge of a thin nose and peculiarly arched nostrils, with a lofty domed forehead, and hair growing scantily around the temples, but profusely elsewhere. His eyebrows were very massive, almost meeting over his nose, with large bushy hair that seemed to curl in its own profusion. The mouth, so far as I could see it under the heavy mustache, was fixed and rather cruel-looking, with peculiarly sharp white teeth. These protruded over the lips, whose remarkable ruddiness showed astonishing vitality in the man of his years. For the rest, his ears were pale, and at the tops extremely pointed. The chin was broad and strong, and the cheeks firm though thin. The general effect was one of extraordinary pallor. Hitherto I had noticed the backs of his hands when they lay on his knees in the firelight. They seemed rather white and fine, but seeing them now so close to me, I did not notice that they were coarse, broad, with squat fingers. Strange to say, there were hairs in the center of his palm. The nails were long and fine, cut to a sharp point. As the Count leaned over me, and his hands touched mine, I could not repress a shudder. It may have been that his breath was rank, but a horrible feeling of nausea came over me, which, do what I would, I could not conceal. The Count, evidently noticing it, drew back, and, with a grim sort of smile, which showed more than he had done his protuberant teeth, sat himself down again at his own side of the fireplace. We were both silent for a while, and as I looked towards the window, I saw the first dim streak of the coming dawn. There seemed a strange silliness over everything, but I listened. I heard, as if from down below in the valley, the howling of many wolves. The Count's eyes gleamed, and he said, "Listen to them, the children of the night. What music they make." Seeing, I suppose, some expression in my face strange to him, he said, "Ah, sir, you dwellers in the city cannot enter the feeling tired. Your bedroom is all ready, and tomorrow you shall sleep as late as you will. I will have to be away until the afternoon. And sleep well and dream well." With a courteous bow, he entered for me himself the door at the octagonal room, in which I entered my bedroom. I am in a sea of wonders. I doubt, I fear, I think strange things, which I dare not confess to my own soul. God keep me, if only for the sake of those dear to me. 7th of May. It is again early morning, and I have rested and enjoyed the last 24 hours. I slept late in the day and awoke of my own accord. When I had dressed myself and went into the room where we had supped, I found a cold breakfast laid out, with the coffee kept hot by a pot being placed on the hearth. There was a card on the table for which it was written, "I have to be absent for a while. Do not wait for me. D." I set to and enjoyed a hearty meal. When I was done, I looked for a bell so that I might let the servants know I was finished. But I could not find one. There are certainly odd deficiencies in the house, considering the extraordinary evidences of wealth which are around me. The table service is of gold, and so beautifully wrought that it must be of immense value. The curtains and the curtains and upholstery of the chairs and sofas, and the hangings of my bed, are of the costliest and most beautiful fabrics, and it must have been of fabulous value when they were made, for they are centuries old, though in excellent order. I saw something like them in Hampton Court, but they were worn and frayed and moth-eaten. But still in none of the rooms is there a mirror. There is not even a toilet glass on my table. I had to get a little shaving glass from my bag before I could either shave or brush my hair. I had not yet seen a servant anywhere, or heard a sound near the castle except the howling wolves. Some time after I had finished my meal, I do not know whether to call it breakfast or dinner. It was between 5 and 6 o'clock when I had it. I looked about for something to read. and I did not like to go about the castle until I had asked the Count's permission. There was absolutely nothing in the room. Book, newspaper, or even writing materials. So I opened another door in the room and found a sort of library. The door opposite mine I tried, but found locked. In the library I found to my great delight a vast number of English books, whole shelves of them, in bound volumes of magazines and newspapers. A table in the center was littered with English magazines and newspapers, though none of them were of a very decent date. The books were of the most varied kind: history, geography, politics, political economy, botany, geology, law, all relating to English and English life and customs and manners. There were even books of reference as the London Directory, the Red and Blue books, Whitaker's Almanac, the Army and Navy lists, and it somehow gladdened my heart to see it, the Law List. While I was looking at the books, the door opened, and the Count entered. He saluted me in a hearty way, and hoped that I had a good night's rest, and then he went on. I am glad you found your way in here, for I am sure there is much that will interest you, these companions. I'm gonna sneeze. I'm not gonna sneeze. I'm gonna take a shot of Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey. It's about time. I haven't yet. I've only been drinking beer. Oh, that's the stuff. Okay. He laid his hand on some of the books. Have been good friends to me in some years. Oh, wait a second, huh? Don't die. Okay, while I was looking through the books, the door opened, and the Count entered. He saluted me in a hearty way, and hoped that I had a good night's rest. And he went on. I am glad you found your way here, for I am sure there is much that will interest you, these companions. And he laid his hand on some of the books. Have been good friends to me, and for some years past, ever since I had the idea of going to London, have given me many, many hours of pleasure. Through them I have come to know your great England, and I know her is to love her, and I know to know her is to love her. I long to go through the crowded streets of your mighty London, and be in the midst of the whirl and rush of humanity. To share its life, its change, its death, and all that makes it what it is. But alas, as yet I only know your tongue through books. To you, my friend, I look that I know it to speak. But Count, I said, you know and speak English thoroughly. He bowed gravely. Thank you, my friend, for you are an all too flattering estimate. But yet I fear that I am but a little way on the road I would travel. True, I know grammar and the words, but I do not know how to speak them. Indeed, I said, you speak excellently. Not so, he answered. Well, I know that. Did I move and speak in your London? None there are who would not know me for a stranger. That is enough for me. Here I am noble. I am a boyar. The common people know me, and I am master. But a stranger in a strange land, he is no one. Thank you for saying that. Men know him not, and to know not is to not care for. I am content if I am like the rest, so that no man stops if he sees me, or pauses in the speaking if he hears my words. Ha ha, a stranger. I have been so long master that I would be master still, or at least one that other should be master of me. You come to me not alone as an agent of my friend Peter Hawkins of Exeter to tell me about my new estate in London. You shall, I trust, rest here with me a while, so that by our talking I may learn English intonation, and that You would tell me when I make error, even of the smallest, in my speaking. I am sorry that I had to be away so long today, but you will, I know, forgive one who has many important affairs in hand. Of course, I said all I could about being willing, and asked if I might come into the room when I chose. He answered, yes, certainly, and added, you may go anywhere you wish in the castle, except where the doors are locked, where of course you will not wish to go. There is reason that all things are as they are, and you did not see my eyes. Oh, and you did see with my eyes, and know with my knowledge, and perhaps better to understand. I said I was sure of this, and he went on. We are in Transylvania. Transylvania is not England. Our ways are not your ways, and there shall be to you many strange things. Nay, from what you have told me of your experiences already, you know something of what strange things there may be. This led to much conversation, and it was evident that he wanted to talk, if only for talking's sake. I asked him many questions regarding things that have already happened to me or come within my notice. Sometimes he sheered off the subject, or turned the conversation by pretending not to understand, but generally he answered all I asked most frankly. Then the time went on, and he had gotten somewhat bolder. I had gotten somewhat bolder. I asked him of some of the strange things of the preceding night, as for instance, why the coachman went to places where he had seen the blue flames. Then he explained to me that it was commonly believed that on a certain night of the year, last night in fact, when all evil spirits are supposed to have been unchecked sway, the blue flame is seen over any place where treasure has been concealed. That treasure has been hidden, he went on, in the region through which you came last night. There can be little doubt, but for when the ground sought over the centuries by the Wallachian, the Wallachian, the Saxon, and the Turk, why is there hardly a foot of soil in all this region that has not been enriched by the blood of men, patriots or invaders? In the old days there were stirring times when the Austrian and Hungarian came up in hordes, and the patriots went out to meet them. Men and women, the aged and the children too, and waited their coming on the rocks above the passes. They might sweep destruction on them with their artificial avalanches. When the invader was triumphant, he found but little, for whatever there had been sheltered in friendly soil. But how? Said I.
We'll be here for an hour.
You won't.
We'll eat in an hour.
Oh.
We'll be here for an hour.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. But how, said I, can I have it remained so long undiscovered, when there is sure index to it if men will but take to trouble to look? Ugh. Sorry, hold on. I'm gonna take like a 10-second break, man. Like, holy shit. I don't know how long I've been reading. How long has this match shot been up? At least 3 hours. I think I've been reading
You've been reading Dracula for 3 hours? Holy shit.
Love that.
I don't know if it's been actually 3 hours. No, never mind. These are half-hour games. It's only been an hour and a half. It's not been 3 hours. It's been an hour and a half. Yes, I've been reading Dracula for 3 hours. I've been drinking, and I've been eating chips.
It just reminds me, I can't remember, but there's like an older book I read that had the exact same like language style. I think it might have been Macbeth. I read the extended version of Macbeth in English class.
Yeah.
And it was like the same language, and we had to do a play, and I was like, what is this shit?
Well, Macbeth was written in the 1400s. This was written in 1897.
Yeah, it's a little bit more advanced. Like, Macbeth, I played the part of Macbeth, which means I just had to act like a lunatic the whole time.
He's troubled. He's
I was
troubled.
talking, bro. Couldn't say anything.
Was one way to put it.
I was talking, but I was mute.
Nice
Ah.
job, Viper.
Thank you. Thank you, Mama.
Yes, I
Glad to see
also
your brain is functioning properly.
I did this before as well with Moby Dick, like last year. Like I think it was literally one whole year ago, and I read through all of Moby Dick.
Well, I'll give you that. It's certainly a way to get people in here.
It worked. Like I literally had a full match chat when I was doing it, and I was just reading to people, and it was really cool because like it had like a really weird cult mentality. So like when a person came in and started like interrupting and talking, then like everybody would put their mics on and be like, "Shut up, he's reading!" And, like it was hilarious. Like
Shut
everybody,
the fuck up,
it was
the man's trying to read.
exactly. It was so fucking weird. Like I was like, where
I could
else?
read it.
It was so weird.
Once you leave, I might start reading it. Who knows? That'll be fun. Actually, I probably can. I'll probably get banned if I even if I do get the 1700 in.
You get to the end pages and you're like,
Yeah,
the kid's still cooking.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be reading it. There's a scene where the author goes into great detail about how children are fucking, and I don't think I want to do that.
What do you mean? That's so cool.
About the children fucking.
That's a joke. I'm just joking. It's not cool.
I know. For some reason, I have the entire Lost Hero, like the one that takes place in the same universe as Percy Jackson. I just have that. Chico, what do you? Chico, what the?
Have you guys?
From my old school ID.
Have you guys ever heard of? Well, I'm sure you guys have heard of it, but have you guys ever seen the comic version of Hellboy?
No.
Like the comic book, because it was
sorry,
originally a
version.
comic book, and then it came out as a movie, and then it came out as another movie, and then it came out as a remake movie. And like,
And then it came out as a remake of a remake movie.
not yet. I'm sure it will. But
It will. One
yeah,
day.
like the original comic has really cool stuff. Like it looks really cool. It's got really cool like lore, I guess you'd call it, and like world
What is
building
lore?
and shit. Lore?
I know what lore is. I was kidding.
Oh my
Imagine saying,
lord.
"What's lore?"
What is lore? Tell me
More
lore.
like Lord.
Lord the
Lord.
singer?
Hallelujah.
I'm way too young to be in here.
Yeah, how old are you guys?
He is a
I'm
child.
17. What the fuck?
Did you say 17?
Yeah.
17 isn't that young.
Children. Oh my god, I'm getting.
That sounds bad. I didn't mean it like that. I'm like,
I'm 19.
yeah, you guys aren't young at all. I'm only 21.
So that makes
Sorry.
sense that I was reading fucking Macbeth in my English class. Fucking
Again,
weirdest thing
Macbeth
that
is like a
stated.
400-year-old book. Like,
I read The Outsiders end of my
Not only that, we had to give a play. I got put on this big ass fucking like navy blue jacket and like a tan brown vest, and I played
Romeo and
Macbeth.
Juliet, I
So
played
you just
Friar
see this.
Lawrence.
I was just gonna say, did you guys see the Romeo and Juliet movie with Leonardo DiCaprio? And it's like modern, and they have guns.
So I'm just thinking of Romeo and Juliet. That's all
Oh,
I'm
not
thinking
Romeo and Juliet.
of. I love, dude.
Romeo and Juliet.
Incredible actual movie.
I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember it being so fucking weird, and like Elton John is in it. Like the singer. It's just so weird.
Like this thing.
I think I like.
Tom,
Remember
what the fuck? You
Romeo and
destroyed my wife.
You remember Romeo and Juliet 2? Or had
There was
Sherlock
that's
Gnomes?
right. There was a second one. I completely
The
fucking forgot about that.
Sherlock Gnomes, baby.
Sherlock Gnomes. Sherlock Gnomes. Oh
You
my
still
god.
almost died, Viper. You
I
still
was gonna
almost...
solo ult you, but that would have put me in a spot of dying right away.
Yeah, you would have fucking ate shit.
Ah,
Yeah,
shit.
that's
Sherlock
what it was
Gnomes.
called. Sherlock Gnomes.
Sherlock Gnomes. That's the second one, and like, it wasn't called Romeo and Juliet 2. It was literally called Sherlock Gnomes.
No, it was called Romeo and Juliet Sherlock Gnomes.
Oh, is that what it was called?
It was the weirdest
Romeo and
fucking
Juliet
thing
to
ever,
Sherlock
man.
Gnomes.
I think we're in the worst
can't wait
timeline.
till they come out with I can't wait till they come out with a new one, starring like, I don't know, what's another really popular book? Arsène Nomen instead of Arsène Lupin. Arch enemy of Sherlock Gnomes. I fucking hate that.
Romeo and Juliet.
Noby dick.
Children
And
of
then
the
you're gonna have
Gnome.
people go, "Oh my god, is that a Persona reference? You see, his name is fucking freaking out."
He just had a brain aneurysm.
Dude, that's what, like, listen, I'm a Persona fan. Guarantee you, if they don't know where Arsene comes from, they're like, they named the character after a Persona 5 character, oh my god! But you fucking brainlets sitting in the It's gonna happen.
You almost made me just
Sorry to
spit
tell
out
you.
shit.
Fucking every single time they add a game where they reference characters, but they don't exactly
God.
explicitly say they're related.
You
Persona's
mean
a really good
Super
example
Smash
because they
Brothers Ultimate?
No. They're exclusively said they're from a series. Like, for example, again,
Dude,
to
I'm
use
gonna go to
Persona,
the
they
Babylon
use a
Hotel.
lot
I'll
of
be
different
waiting
gods
there.
in Persona, but sometimes they use book characters, sometimes story characters from Fables.
You
So if
mean
you
like
ever-
Fable?
The video game?
The video game Fable?
What
I played
about
Castle
Fable?
Crashers.
Dude,
like-
that game's pretty fucking, like, okay. I played that game so much as a kid that I
I beat the story
unlocked...
mode like 5 times.
You mean
Dude, I've
Fable?
beaten it probably well into double digits. No, Castle
Castle
Crashers.
Crashers.
Oh, fuck.
Dude, I unlocked the, the Necromancer in the game?
Yeah.
I don't know how the fuck, I unlocked him somehow. I don't even remember how, I just
You
did.
beat the story mode as a certain character.
Yeah, I think that's what I did, and, I
No, you beat
unlocked
the game
him,
as
and
a skeletons. What the fuck?
Oh, fucking, he starts off with a +2 magic, +7 defense level, like, 30 sword. So I just made him a pure strength build, so no one could kill me, ever. The entire time I played.
Ah.
Do you do the strategy where you jump on them, press Y, and then XXY?
No,
And then
I found an
XXY.
even better one. Certain characters have easier loops. Like the Green Knight and the Orange Knight have a different loop from the Red Knight and the Blue Knight. If you keep mashing Y, you'll slam the enemy into the ground, gain more height, and if they try and jump up to hit you out of the air, you'll juggle them, and then slam them back into the ground to regain your height. You could literally loop them and never take any damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember where I spent like 5 entire minutes like slamming one enemy into the ground.
I spent like 7 minutes throwing an enemy into a wall.
Oh yeah, I
Just
unlocked the
catching 'em.
fucking the enemies with the like the buzzsaws. Dude,
Oh,
those
you
shit,
mean in
that,
the-
that like shreds the fucking the bosses.
Oh, Alien Hominid? Yeah, when I was younger, I thought Alien Hominid was really popular or like famous. He's not. I just assumed he was for most of my life because he was everywhere. They wanted him to be popular and famous, but he wasn't.
And I remember playing Battle Block Theater after.
I never played Battle Block Theater.
It's addicting. You're into
I
Mario
mean,
or something.
I assume so. I just feel like it'd be
You're
an
a Mario
asshole
kid,
instead.
you'd get addicted.
Chico,
Uh,
Chico.
I'm
Wait,
not
you-
sure
so
if
you're
this
saying-
is legit or not.
I just got here and you're gonna leave? Damn.
Chico, you're a hoe. You're a
No
hoe. I'm gonna
way.
say it. She's like,
Thank
she's
you.
like, you guys.
Thank you.
Like, you guys need to get on. You need to get on right now.
I didn't
love
say
how
you guys
she-
needed
she-
to get on. I was just saying this
I
guy's
love how
reading
she
Dracula
never
and I'm in
said
his custom game.
anything. And then everybody
Yeah, I
joined.
was reading Dracula. Now I'm listening
Never
to
stop fighting for what you believe in.
Amigos.
How long are you gonna
Not
be
that I'm
gone?
complaining.
Can I be the video Joker for your Dracula reading?
Anyways, yeah, no, I gotta go. I'll be on later. Bye.
Video
Wait,
Joker?
Fuck you, Chico.
I asked you a question.
Go lick tape,
What?
Chico.
I
Oh,
said,
okay.
how long are you gonna
Oh, what an insult. Go lick tape. I'm gonna use that.
be gone? I said, how long is she gonna be on? She said, oh, and then just didn't answer, and then left.
Shut up her whole console. Do you know what a VJ is, by the way?
Fucking.
A bomb
A
diggity?
video Joker?
Oh.
No, video Joker. Basically, it's just some guy who narrates
Oh, I thought you said
over it
DJ.
in a completely different language.
What?
He just chimes in, saying, yeah, it's basically like watching a commentary. It's the weirdest fucking thing. Dude, they're fucking wowzers.
Losers?
Woozers.
Oh, is it like losers with a W, like uwu?
Just call them cunt waffle looking shysters. That works.
I'm
good.
not sure if I just... No, I didn't. Anyways. I should probably get back to reading. This is 500 pages. 501
It's
fucking
only
pages.
500?
These are big pages.
Yeah, I know.
These are
that's
big
that's
pages.
still tidy to me.
Because remember, I've been reading for like an hour and probably 2 hours, and I'm only on page 28.
Oh, what the fuck?
I'm
How
not a
big are
slow
those fucking
reader.
Pages?
No, it's like small printing
are you
on
at, like
big
a fucking
paper.
printing shop?
No, it's just small and like pretty much the whole page. It's like the whole page, and it's kind of small, and the paper is like bigger than normal book paper. Nerf paper, please.
I used to I would read just a fucking absolute shit ton when I was a kid. I beat 1,500 other students about in like how many books read that year. The only reason I lost was because some kid would be cheating the whole time. Like he cheated with his two friends. I'd watch them read a book and they'd do the test for him. Anyway,
How
continue.
rude. Man, I don't know if I want to read. I'm kind of... Oh, man. How much more until the end of this
Lost
chapter?
Mojo.
I think what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to read like a chapter or something. A chapter and something a day. I'm almost done this chapter. I've got...
You're
do a chapter or two a day. 3 chapters a day I'll do. Anyways, where was I here? We are in Transylvania, and Transylvania is not England. Our ways are not your ways, and there shall be to you many strange things. Nay, from what you have told me of your experiences already, you know something of what strange things there may be. This led to much conversation, and it was evident that he wanted to talk only for talking's sake. I happened him many questions regarding things that had already happened to me or come within my notice. Sometimes he sheered off the subject, or turned the conversation by pretending not to understand, but generally he answered all I asked most frankly. Then, as time went on, I had gotten somewhat bolder. I asked him of some of the strange things of the preceding night, as for instance, why the coachman went to the places where he had seen the blue flames. Then he explained to me that it was commonly believed that on a certain night of the year, last night in fact, when all evil spirits are supposed to have unchecked sway, the blue flame is seen over any place where treasure might have been concealed. That treasure has been hidden, he went on, in the region through which you came last night. There can be but little doubt, for it was the ground fought over for centuries by Wallachien, the Saxon, and the Turk. Why there is hardly a foot of soil in all this region that has not been enriched by the blood of men, patriots, or invaders. In the old days, there were stirring times when the Austrian and the Hungarian camp came up in hordes, and the patriots went out to meet them, men and women, the aged and the children too, and waited their coming on the rocks above the passes, that they might sweep destruction on them with their artificial avalanches. When the invader was triumphant, he found but little, for whatever there had been sheltered in the friendly soil. But how? That was a really long monologue by Dracula. But how, said I, can it have remained so long undiscovered, when there is a sure index to it, if men will but take the trouble to look? The Count smiled, as if his lips ran over his gums. The long, sharp canine teeth showed out strangely. He answered, "Because your peasant is at heart a coward and a fool. Those flames only appear on one night, and on that night no man of this land will, if he can help it, stir without his doors. And, dear sir, even if he did, would he know what to do? Why, even the peasant that you tell me of, who marked the place of the flame, would not know where to look in daylight even for his own work. Even you would not, I dare be sworn, be able to find these places again." There you are right, he said. "I know no more than the dead where even to look for them." Then we drifted on to new matters. "Come," he said at last, "tell me of London and of the house which you have procured for me." With an apology of my reminiscence? It's not reminiscence, it's reminiscence. I went into my own room to get the papers from my bag. Whilst I was placing them in order, I heard a rattling of china and silver in the next room, and as I passed through, noticed that the table had been cleared and the lamp lit, for it was by this time deep into the dark. The lamps were also lit in the study or library. I found the Count lying on the sofa, reading, of all things in the world, the English Bradshaw Guide. When I came in, he cleared the books and papers from the table, and I went with him into plans and deeds and figures of all sorts. He was interested in everything, and asked me a myriad of questions about the place and its surroundings. He clearly had studied beforehand all he could to get on the subject of the neighborhood, for he evidently at the end knew very much more than I did. When I remarked this, he answered, "But well, my friend, is it not needful that I should, when I go there, I shall be alone, and my friend Harker Jonathan, I fall into my country's habit of putting your patronymic first. My friend Jonathan Harker will not be by my side to correct and aid me. He will be in Exeter, miles away, probably working at papers of the law with my other friend, Peter Hawkins, so." We went thoroughly into business of the purchase of the estate at Purfleet. When I had told him the facts and got his signature to the necessary papers, and had written a letter with them ready to post to Mr. Hawkins, he began to ask me how I had come across so suitable a place. I read to him the notes which I had made at the time, and which I inscribe here. At Purfleet, on a by-road, I came across such a place as seemed to be required, and where was displayed a dilapidated notice that the place was for sale. It was surrounded by a high wall of ancient structure built of heavy stones, and has not been repaired for a large number of years. The closed gates are of heavy old oak and iron, all eaten with rust. The estate is called Carfax, no doubt a corruption of the old Quatreface, and as the house is four-sided, agreeing with the cardinal points of the compass. It contains in all some 20 acres, quite surrounded by a solid stone wall above mentioned. There are many trees on it, which make it in places gloomy, and there is deep, dark-looking pond or small lake, evidently fed by some springs, as the water is clear and flows away in a fair-sized stream. The house is very large, and of all periods back, I should say to medieval times, for one part of the stone is immensely thick, with only a few windows high up and heavily barred with iron. It looks like part of a keep, and is close to an old chapel or church. I could not enter it, as I had not the key to the door leading to it from the house, but I have taken it with my Kodak views of it from various points. The house has been added to, but in a very straggling way, and I can only guess the amount of ground it covers, which must be very great. There are very few houses close at hand, but one being very large house, only recently added and formed to a private lunatic asylum, and it is not, however, visible from the grounds. When I had finished, he said, "I am glad that it is old and big. I myself am of an old family, and to live in a new house would kill me. A house cannot be habitable in a day, and, after all, how few days go by to make up a century. I rejoice also that there is a chapel of old times. We Transylvanian nobles love to not think that our bones may lie amongst the common dead. I seek not gaiety nor mirth, not the bright voluptuousness of much sunshine and sparkling waters, which please the young and gay. I am no longer young, and my heart, though weary years of mourning over the dead, is not attuned to mirth. Moreover, the walls of my castle are broken, the shadows are many, and the wind breathes cold through the broken battlements and casements. I love the shade and the shadow, and would be alone with my thoughts when I may." Somehow his words and his look did not seem to accord, or else was that his cast of face made his smile look malignant and saturnine. Presently, with an excuse, he left me, asking me to pull my papers together. He was some little time away, and I began to look at some of the books around me. One was an atlas, which I found open naturally to England, as if that map has been much used. On looking at it, I found certain places little rings marked, and on examining these, I noticed that one was near London on the east side, manifestly where his new acre was situated. The other two were Exeter and Whitby on the Yorkshire coast. It was better part of an hour when the Count returned. "Aha!" he said, "still at your books? Good. You must not work always. Come." But he sat as on the previous night, and chatted whilst I ate. After supper I smoked, and on the last evening, and the Count stayed with me, chatting and asking questions on every conceivable subject, hour after hour. I felt that it was getting very late indeed, but I did not say anything, for I felt under obligation to meet my host's wishes in every way. I was not sleepy. And the long sleep yesterday had fortified me, but I could not help experiencing that chill that comes over one at the coming of dawn, which is like, in its own way, the turn of a tide. They say that people who are near death die generally at the change to dawn or at the turn of the tide. Anyone who has when tired, and tied, as it were, to his post, experienced this change to an atmosphere which well believe it. All at once we heard the crow of a cock, coming up with preternatural shrillness, coming through the clear morning air. Count Dracula jumped to his feet, said, Why, there's the morning again. How remiss I am to let you stay up so long. You must make your own conversation regarding my dear new country of England less interesting, so that I might forget how time flies by us. And with a courtly bow, he quickly left me.
Ha ha, cock.
I went into my room and drew the curtains, but there was little to notice. My window opened up into the courtyard. All I could see was a warm gray of quickening sky, so I pulled the curtains again and have written of this day. May 8th. I began to fear as I wrote in this book that I was getting too diffuse, but I am glad that I went into detail from the first, There is something so strange about this place, and all in it, that I cannot but feel uneasy. I wish I were safe out of it, or that I had never come. It may be that this strange night existence is telling on me, but would that were all. If there were anyone to talk, if there were anyone to talk to, I could bear it, but there is no one. I only have the Count to speak with, and he, I fear, I am myself the only living soul within this place. Let me be prosaic so far. Let me be prosaic so far as facts can be. It will not help me to bear up, and imagination must not run riot with me. If it does not, I am lost. Let me say once how I stand, or seem to. I slept a few hours when I went to bed, and feeling that I could not get any sleep anymore, I had hung my shaving glass by the window. And just as I was beginning to shave, I suddenly felt a hand on my shoulder. I heard the Count's voice saying to me, "Good morning." I started, for it amazed me that I had not seen him, since the reflection of the glass covered the whole room behind me. In starting, I had cut myself slightly, but I did not notice it at a moment. Having answered the Count's salutation, I turned the glass again to see how I had been mistaken. This time there could be no error, for the man was close to me, and I could not see him over my shoulder. But there was no reflection of him in the mirror.
Not the only thing he felt, wink wink.
The whole room behind me was displayed, but there was no sign of a man in it, except himself. This was startling, and coming out on top of so many strange things was beginning to increase that vague feeling of uneasiness which I have always had when the Count is near. But at the instant I saw that the cut had bled a little, and the blood was trickling over my chin. I laid down my razor, turning as I did so round to look at some of the sticking plaster. When the Count saw my face, his eyes blazed with a sort of demonic fury, and he suddenly made a grab at my throat. I drew away, and his hand touched the string of beads which held a crucifix. It made an instant change in him, for the fury passed so quickly that I could hardly believe that it was ever there. "Take care," he said. "Take care how you cut yourself. It is more dangerous than you think in this country." Then, seizing his shaving glass, he went on. "And this is the wretched thing that has done the mischief. It is a foul bauble of man's vanity. Away with it!" And opening the window with one wrench of his terrible hand, he flung out the glass, which was shattered into the 1,000 pieces on the stone of the courtyard far below. Then he withdrew without a word. It is very annoying, for I do not see how I am to shave, unless in my watch case or the bottom of the shaving pot, for is fortunately of metal. When I went into the dining room, breakfast was prepared, but I could not find the Count anywhere, so I breakfasted alone. It is strange that as yet I have not seen the Count eat or drink. He must be a very peculiar man. After breakfast, I did a little exploring in the castle. I went on the stairs and found a room looking towards the south. The view is magnificent, and from where I stood, there was every opportunity of seeing it. The castle is on the very edge of a terrific precipice. A stone falling from the window would fall 1,000 feet without touching anything. As far as the eye can reach is a sea of green treetops, and occasionally a deep rift where there is a chasm. Here and there are silver threads where the rivers wind in deep gorges through the forest. But I am not in heart to describe beauty, for when I had seen the view I explored further. Doors everywhere, and all locked and bolted. In no place safe from the windows and the castle walls is there an available exit. The castle is a veritable prison, and I am a prisoner. And that is chapter 2. Done. Oh, and it's just me and Nappy. You Nappy.
That's just bad architectural planning, to be honest.
That is... The game was rigged from the start. What? What? What the hell?
التكرار يعلم الشطار.
Thank you for that friend request. Okay, I think I'm gonna probably custom game hop and try to find people that I can talk to and be mean to. But not actually mean so that I get banned from streaming. Because that would kind of suck. And the game hasn't been rigged from the start. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Come on, Nappy! Come on, Nappy!
Mood.
Mood. Hamood? Okay, well, I'm gonna custom game hop. If you want to join me, you can always join me through that friend request. I missed again. I'm not good at this game. I'm just gonna... Oh, man, I haven't played Overwatch in like a literal millennia. I mean...
Did you get those photos printed?
Photos printed? Photos printed? Okay. I main Tracer, lol. It's okay, I main Ana and I just suck at the game. I have not played this game in a long time. Okay, I'm gonna go.
Botos Binted, emoji alien, emoji alien.
I forgot that there's an alien emoji. Okay, let's see what we can join here. Is there anything? Chill, do whatever. Do you think people are talking in here? No, you join me, Goggle Worshipper. No, you join me. Oh shit, he can't join me now. Okay, let's join this chat, see if people are stupid.
Never stop fighting for what you believe in. All systems checked out.
Yo, never mind, there's nobody in here. Okay, I'll invite him to the group. What's his name again? What's his name again? Navi. Invite to group. I can... Oh, man. Oh, what a cool fucking skin. Fucking rad! He said invite me to the group. Oh, there he is. Photos binted? Photos binted?
Yo, remember that one meme of the girl who is every single Overwatch operator?
Excuse me. I do? Okay, we just joined chill or do whatever, so now let's look for something fun. You're OP, but now? Thank you for thinking. Thank you for thinking that Swolefish S is a nice name. It's my name. Chill and Kink? Chill and Kink match chat?
Now entering.
I hope you give me permission to join this. This is what we're joining. Also, man, my girlfriend broke up with me. Oh. Hey.
Never stop fighting for what you believe in.
Hey, sorry, it takes me a while to read.
Fishman, how old are you?
How old am I? I'm older than you. Bitch.
You're probably not.
I'm 21.
I'm 24.
Yeah, he's 24.
Are you kidding me? You sound like you're not... I'm sorry that I called you a bitch.
Swolefish SS your legal name.
What?
What? Kindergarten?
When did you call him a bitch?
I said, didn't I just call you a bitch? I came in and I was like...
I'm older than you, bitch.
Yeah, I said I'm older than you, bitch.
Oh my god, my brain literally just okay, so my brain for curse words is like normal for me, so...
And watch your language. We have a child in here.
I curse myself. I don't
who's
know
the... No, wait, who's the youngest person in here? Do we know that?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Are they 12?
15.
Yeah.
15?
Are they 12?
Yeah,
what the
15.
Fuck?
12 is like the age. Like if you're younger than 12, then you need to
I've only met
stop.
one 12-year-old on this game, and they hit on me. Okay.
What?
Actually, yeah, I've only met one.
One.
They abused you?
Yeah, I've only met one.
That's amazing.
Yeah, actually, that's like
Yeah,
really
I'm
fucking
thankful.
rare.
I am thankful.
I don't think that you can really not meet 12-year-olds. I'm surprised that you've only met one.
I've only met
I
one,
never
and they
met
happen
one.
to
I
be the
actually-
one
No,
that
like,
hits
we-
on me, man.
I met an 8-year-old.
At least.
Time to white night.
That could be your son.
No.
Or daughter, depending on what gender they were.
Woman. What's 8 minus 24?
They could still be your daughter or son. They could be your child. What do you mean?
Hello there, how's everybody doing today?
Parent.
Oh my god, it's Archangel!
Hello, hi,
How old are you?
He's
I'm
25.
26,
Oh, fuck.
Hi.
Bullshit.
No, I am actually.
No, he's 26 because he made this account last year and it has 25 on it.
Exactly.
I'm dead.
So, how are you guys
You
doing
are?
today?
I'm
Splendid.
chilling, like usual. That is my motto.
I'm
just
fucking smashed.
Just
How are
chilling
you?
day
My voice
after
is
day.
fucked
from
screaming.
I'm doing good, I'm doing good.
I'm not
And,
smashed. I lied.
Trying
I'm
to
not
peruse
Show
and
my nuts, it's gonna get wicked out here.
see what kind of custom games I can find. And,
Yeah.
Did you
welcome to our custom game.
Did you say cum?
I've
Did you
that.
say what kind of cum you can
Alright.
find?
Wait,
What? No,
Custom
a game.
games you can
Custom
find.
game.
Don't mind.
I ain't a perverted fuck you, motherfucker. Listen to
Whoa,
me.
whoa, whoa! We
Obviously,
can't
you're
use swear
perverted
words in
if you're
here.
doing this
We
custom.
can't use swear words in here. I couldn't call that guy a
I'm
bitch.
leaving.
Listen, I will tell you right now, there are 3 custom games right now that have MC in the title.
What
That's
does
it.
MC stand for?
Listen. First off,
Boom. What?
okay.
Yes.
So, fish brain. You're
MC stands for
21,
massive
right?
cock.
Fish
It's
brain.
not a massive cock then.
Listen.
What? You never.
Anyways, why are you calling my
Fish
name?
brain. Because I'm trying
Also,
to ask you a fucking question.
I like
Yeah.
your name Koala Khan, by the way.
Thank you.
What is your
welcome.
Are you
question?
sub or dom?
Am I? You can't ask me that.
You're a sub.
You literally
Archangel,
can't
are
ask
you
me
a sub
that.
or dom?
Wait, you're asking me? I thought you were
I'm
asking
asking
them.
you now. No, I'm asking
Oh,
you.
good.
I
100%
transcend the
dom.
laws of sub and dom. I am Subway.
The law.
Did you hear me, or I don't know if you heard
Yeah,
me?
yeah, 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 yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
Okay.
You're fine.
Eat fresh.
This is a
Now
common
that
question
you're-
he asks usually, so it's nothing.
Watery, I can't ask you because you're 15.
No, it's all good. I'm in,
I mean,
I'm in
she
the
could.
book, so.
Yeah, don't make her fucking uncomfortable. I am her mother. I
Whoa,
will
whoa,
protect
whoa,
the
whoa,
mother.
whoa. There's no making
mother
uncomfortable in
figures,
this custom game. If I can't call him a bitch, people can't get uncomfortable in this custom game. That's a no-no.
What? That
No,
makes
you can't call me a bitch because you're a sub.
I'm not a fucking sub.
Damn.
I'm not a sub. I
Shots
was not
fired.
made with mayonnaise, lettuce, and cheese, okay? I'm not a sub.
Oh, so you're
That's what a
just
sub
split.
would say.
Alright.
I do not have bacon, lettuce, and cheese either.
This man has comedy humor.
Oh my god, sorry.
Comedy
humor?
Sometimes my brain doesn't work and I stutter.
I have to,
on
that
words.
guy has comedy.
Stutter. Did I?
Okay, don't make fun of me
Don't
for
worry.
it.
That's a song. I'm literally singing a Marianas
Oh,
Trench
okay.
song.
Never heard of
So
it.
the question is,
worry,
who are
Doc.
you guys?
Stutter. Did.
Like, I figured who Koala is.
I do not condone. I do not agree with
What I
what
am?
you just said.
You want to know who I am?
Wait, what? Me asking who you guys are?
Ella.
Yeah, who we are?
I'm
As in,
confused.
like, what do you mean?
No, I'm always curious about people and getting to know them, so I'm just curious.
Koala's a
what
dog.
You guys are.
Yeah.
Koala's a dog?
I'll get you arrested.
I'm 100% dumb.
I have police on speed dial.
I'm stupid and you.
I'm stupid. And you know what? Sometimes I'm stupid. Sometimes I'm stupid.
Noppy isn't stupid. Noppy's very intelligent.
I'm more of a master kind of guy.
Like Dracula.
I'm more of a master type.
Dracula? You just call Dracula stupid?
No, I called Dracula a master.
Oh, that's gonna end up well for you. To be honest.
Okay, fine. If you gotta back up that way, I'm gonna back up this way. Jesus.
My God,
yeah,
I am.
you stay at that end of the hallway. I'll stay at this end of the hallway, bitch.
Oh, I'm staying on this end
I'm
of the
literally
map.
lagging
You
so
stay on that end
bad.
of the map. I have the high ground.
Stupidity is a perk. You know,
Yo, Star Wars
honestly,
reference.
stupidity probably raises like quality of life.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
Monkey.
Yo, oh my God, I love Cole Cassidy. Cole Cassidy is so cool. Oh my God, Cole Cassidy.
Okay,
Name's Cole Cassidy.
I'm just
Nice to meet you.
I fucking hate Cole Cassidy. He can suck a massive fucking cock.
Fishman, where are you?
Quesadillas.
Where am I?
What's the quesadilla?
I'm rejecting.
I'm Soldier 76.
Oh man.
Sit
Yo,
down.
Noppy, come to me, Noppy, save me.
Sit down.
Motherfucker! Leave me alone,
Noppy, did you just get
Widow,
caught in
on
here
the other
too?
fucking side.
Thanks. You, come here. You,
Monkey.
sit down.
He's invincible, motherfucker!
Thanks.
You're welcome. What do I do now?
Yeah, fuck you, bitch.
Stay there. Don't
I'm just
move.
running away.
Sorry.
The kid.
You, sit down.
Stop it! And I'm missing.
Yes. No, I'm just kidding.
Pardon me.
Oh my God, I've literally
You know,
been
I'm proud
missing.
of you for saying
No,
that.
you woke him up.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I gotta go by.
This is what Overwatch is.
Yep, well, there goes one.
Wow. That was quick.
This is Overwatch. I don't want this.
So,
We're taking the
Hang on a minute.
We're
Why did
taking
they, why
damage.
did they leave? What happened?
Is their friend is
behind you.
What's
Gotcha.
up?
I think you should have said he/she/they/them.
Oh my god, I can't hear you. Wait, everybody, shh. Sorry.
Fine,
What?
they're asking you for your sub.
You a sub?
Why are you asking that question?
A substitute
If he
teacher?
asked you the question to sit down. Well, it wasn't really a question. It was a statement. You should have listened to him and sat down.
I should have listened to him. I
Yeah,
could be a boss ass bitch and say no.
Hold up.
Listen, she could be a brat if she wants to be.
Hold on,
That's a lifestyle.
Yeah, she's a sub, but she's a brat. Yo,
Everybody calls me that, man.
Yo, Archangel. I've been
What?
saying that shit. I've been saying that shit for the longest time, and
do you
nobody else
dislike
agrees
it?
with me.
Oh?
I'm just saying that that's what happens.
That's
Like,
Be
What?
honest,
Why is
do you
everybody
dislike-
harassing me?
I'll keep my distance. I'll keep my distance.
Oh, man.
Get harassed.
Energy eagle.
Okay, time out.
Why
Everybody
don't you-
quiet.
You know what,
Oh.
Koala, let's
Oh
have a
my
sit
God,
down.
I
Let's have
sung a
sit
song
down.
for you, Edgy E-Girl Uwu. I sung a song for Edgy E-Girl Uwu one time.
What's up?
Alright,
Oh my
alright,
God, I
alright.
literally
Okay.
made up a song on the spot, and it was like about how edgy that the name was, and it was before they even joined the chat, and they joined the chat, and then like they were like, "What
Why
the
are you
fuck is
following
this?"
us?
Hey, Fishman. Hey, Fishman.
Why am I? Wait,
Shut
wait,
the
Yeah.
fuck
is this like a
Don't tell me to-
meeting?
don't tell me to
Am I
shut
not
up.
allowed?
No, because you're not
You
No,
fucking missed the
you
whole
will-
couch. You are inside it.
Bitch, shut the fuck up.
Oh my
Where is this
god.
meeting?
This is a test. This is a test.
sorry,
Tell
Gojo,
him
were
no.
you?
Go,
Tell him no.
Go, Joe. Fishman.
Alright, listen.
Get out of here,
Shut the
Gojo.
fuck up. I'm trying to ask you.
I'm the
for-
security guard.
No.
Go, Joe.
Koala, listen, Koala.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay, listen.
What?
Why is everybody here?
Everybody here. We're supposed to have a private meeting here, and everyone's all here. Edgy, I don't even know who the fuck you are.
Okay, time out. Before you say anything, Gojo, how old are you?
You shouldn't have to think that long.
I don't know my age or anything. I lost my birth certificate. Leave me alone.
I'll give you 5 seconds or you get kicked.
5,
2.
How many days?
Seven.
Oh my god, I
Like,
literally
like,
can't
like,
for shit.
Alright,
You are lucky I am so bad at this
bodyguard.
game.
How old are you?
I'm 16.
Hey!
17.
Oh God.
I messed it up.
Alright. Edgy, you girl?
Wait, is everybody else here?
Stop!
Get the fuck out!
You're
No!
16, I think, aren't you? Sun girl?
You too?
Sun.
What the fuck is even your name? Thiable? What the fuck does that even
I
fucking
think they're
mean?
typing it. Oh, 22.
Oh, 22.
Yes.
Nani desu
Is
ka?
it thiable? Question mark?
今度になられるか、そんじになら、まかたとのやら。
I got kicked. I got kicked. I got kicked. Do 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 do. I got kicked. I got kicked. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I didn't get kicked. I just got put in spectators. What the fuck is going on?
Now entering King's Row.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Doing good, how are you?
Fighting.
Anthem, how old are you?
Ark.
What the?
What the fuck?
Yo, Inkatha, what's up,
Wait,
buddy?
hold up. Who asked my age?
Huh?
Me, I did.
I'm 18. Archangel.
This conversation is pooped.
A long time.
What is that title?
It's a lot of sexual tension going.
Why is it people? Why is everybody here?
They didn't.
Here.
I
are
will
you? Voice
be
actor?
back.